Today we're diving headfirst into the rolling vineyards of the Adelaide Hills to tackle one big question. Can a DIY wine tour really beat the cost and the experience of a commercial one? We'll break down every detail, the costs, the tastings and the overall vibe at each winery. By the end of the day, we'll know whether planning it ourselves was worth it and whether we can still string together a full sentence after all these tastings. It's time for a fun-filled day exploring one of South Australia's most breathtaking wine regions, so let's get into it. Good morning from South Australia. Today we have planned out a wine tasting route around 4 of the well-known wineries here in the Adelaide Hills. The goal is simple. We're going to see whether our DIY tour is cheaper and as fun as a commercial tour. So we actually spent quite a while looking on Google to see whether we could find one which is cheap and exactly what we like. However, we found it pretty difficult. Most of the tours were over $300 and most of them didn't even include the wine either. So we then looked up the hop on and hop off bus tour, which was with trail hoppers, which cost us just under $100 per person. And that was probably the cheapest way that we found, but it didn't include the wineries. So we're going to be testing today whether the DIY wine tasting tour, which we have made, will be cheaper than that one. So we'll find out. Obviously, if you are riding solo or you don't want to spend time planning it out, then the best options are the trail hopper bus or the tours which are done by different companies. So here is our plan for the day. We have booked 4 different wineries here in the Adelaide Hills, and we're going to be trying all of the different wines and letting you know exactly which ones we like and which ones we don't. I'll leave a link in the description to all of the wineries which we go to so that you can find them nice and easily, and I'll also track all of the costs along the way. So we have taken our first taxi of the day from the Adelaide CBD all the way to the hills to Artwine. So Artwine is going to be our first winery of the tour. It cost us $43.36 to get here. So obviously that is a lot cheaper than the bus so far. So fingers crossed it will stay that way as we go between the different wineries. So let me tell you a little bit about Artwine. So Artwine is a beautiful winery in the Adelaide Hills and was founded in 2008, known for introducing Australia to some of the most amazing alternative varieties like Fiano, which is a crisp Italian wine that is winning awards nationwide. So let's see if this first winery sets the bar or whether it was a big mistake to come here. In Artwine, Beth and I are doing 2 different tastings. I'm going to do the classic tasting, whereas Beth is doing the whites tasting. Both of them were $25 each, and they both include a cheese board too, which is good news, and 6 different wines. But look at how amazing it looks already. All the vineyards on either side. A little bit of a grey day today, but it's meant to get a bit sunnier, but it's looking beautiful so far. We've just sat down and I have to say it is stunning in here, so I definitely recommend coming. And they are doing an Italian tasting month this month, so they actually do a lot of different Mediterranean wines like Spanish and French too, but this month is Italian. And we're starting off with the Prosecco Rosa, which is a rosé wine, and as you can see it looks really nice, so cheers to that and we'll see what it tastes like. That's quite a nice one. That is very nice, good start. Whilst we're enjoying our wine, we have been brought over some food too. So we've got buffalo cheese, crackers for the non-vegans, and then they actually accommodate for vegans too. So Beth has got herself some crackers with hummus, which looks really tasty too. And then some almonds in the middle. So I'm gonna give the cheese a try, see what we think. I have to say, I love cheese, so hopefully it should be pretty good. It's like a cream cheese, but it does actually taste really good. Look at that. So that one was really tasty and so easy to drink too. You could drink that one all day. And we're now moving to our second wine, which is a white wine called the Prego Pinot Grigio. So as you can see, a lot lighter in colour, but it looks really nice again. So we'll give it a try and see what we think. It's an Italian wine, fresh, fruity and finishing dry, apparently. That was also really nice. I think I have to say though, I do prefer a rosé. So the next one is another white wine called the Bella Donna Falagina, and it's actually a zesty light white wine which originates from Campania. And it actually looks, again, very clear, Looks very nice, and hopefully it won't be too heavy, so we'll give it a try. I like that one. It's challenging the top spot at the moment, I'd probably say. The Prosecco Rosa was really nice too, so we'll have to see. But one good thing about doing the DIY private tour means that we're actually sat here on our own right now in this first winery, whereas if you were coming on a tour bus, then there'll probably be quite a few tables of you doing it all together. So that's quite nice because it's sort of like a private little tasting that we're having. So the next one is called the Ti Amo Arnis. Again, another white wine which looks really nice, and it was one of their first Arnises here at Artwine. So it originated in northern Italy. It's got a pear and apple sort of flavour to it. So we'll give it a try and see what we think. That one's nice again. I think I did prefer the last one, but I'd probably put that in the middle of the white wines. So now we're moving on to our first red wine, the Sangiovese, which is called the Doghouse here. So it's quite a red looking wine, obviously, as it's a red wine. Beth's gone for the white Spanish wine because she's obviously doing just the whites. So this one is meant to be very good with pasta and pizza, which is good news because I love both of those, and it's got an abundance of flavour, apparently, with fruit, cherries, plums and herbs. Hints of leather and tobacco, which is a strange one, so we'll give it a try, see what we think. I'll probably put that one last, but I can see how it's good with like pizza and pasta because it's got like a sort of, it's a bit heavier than the white wine, so we'll have to see what we think of the next red wine as to whether we don't like red wine that much or whether it's just this one which we're not a fan of. So our final wine at Artwine is called Leave Your Hat On, because apparently it is going to hit me hard, so we'll have to see. It's a Montepulciano, which I think they shortened to Monte, so it's another red wine. Looks fairly similar to the last one, but apparently the last one's quite light. It does say that it's got aromatic, vibrant flavours with dark cherries, plums and berries, and then spicy undertones. But a lot of these actually have awards, so you might be able to see on the menu there's like trophies by them, and this is probably one of the most highly accredited / awarded wines. So we'll have to see what we think of this and whether it will actually blow our head off. Oof, that one's definitely a lot stronger than the previous one. Oh. Right, before we do move on to our next wine, let me tell you about today's video sponsor, Holicay. If you're planning a trip anytime soon, Holicay is an all-in-one travel planner that genuinely makes everything easier. You can add your hotels and experiences into one itinerary and then check out your whole trip in a single click. My favourite part is their Holly AI feature. You just type the kind of trip you want and it builds a full itinerary for you in seconds. It's basically like having your own personal travel planner. If you want to try it, use my link in the description below and both you and I get a $5 voucher to use on anything on the platform. I'll also have today's full itinerary saved on my profile in the app. Now let's move on to the next wine. So that is our first wine tasting complete, and I have to say that was really nice. That's sitting with the vineyards in the background, beautiful inside too, so hopefully, fingers crossed, the next one will be just as good. As we're trying to do it as cheap as possible, we are now walking to the next one. So it's only 18 minutes. It is all downhill, but you're walking and you're surrounded by vineyards. I mean, there's no path, but there's a little bit of gravel to the one side, so you're a little bit safe there, I suppose. So the next stop is the Bird in Hand, and it is known as one of Australia's most iconic wineries, established in 1997 in the stunning Adelaide Hills. Now take a look at this vineyard. Beautiful. So they're known for their award-winning sparkling and Shiraz, and all crafted with a strong focus on sustainability and art. So let's head inside and see why the Bird in Hand is such a standout for the Adelaide Hills region. So as we come to the front, you can also already see the cellar door. Now this is quite an iconic cellar door, and a lot of people do actually get photos outside of here. That's the iconic Bird in Hand logo, and by the looks of it, here's a couple of the vessels too. Oh, it looks really nice, a bit busier than the previous one. We're now inside the Bird in Hand, and it's actually a lot darker than the last one, and as we saw a second ago, a lot busier. But we've got the choice of basically two different tastings, so the waiters just brought it over. We've got either the Bird in Hand tasting or the Pinnacle tasting experience. So the Pinnacle one has a few whiskies in there too, and it's got Shiraz and sparkling and different ones like that. But we're going to go for the cheaper option, which is only $20, whereas the Pinnacle is $50. So the $20 one is the Bird in Hand tasting. The Bird in Hand tasting is a mixture of different types of wine. So we've got the red wine, we've got the white wine, we've got the sparkling, and then we've also got the rosé. So hopefully we should get a good, nice range of wines, see what we think of them all. Beth's also doing the same one as me this time, so she's going to be trying some reds too. So it'll be interesting to see what she thinks of those. So the first wine which we're trying in the Bird in Hand is the sparkling wine. And they actually told us it's a bit more of a Pinot Noir. Now, the way we can tell this is that it's got a bit more of like a rosé colour to it rather than the sparkling wine colour. It's apparently quite fruity, citrusy. So we'll give it a try and we'll see whether it tastes as good as the previous wines. I'd say that's quite a nice one, to be honest. Probably one of my favourites so far. Really easy to drink as well. So we're giving that one a high rating. Our second wine is the Sauvignon Blanc, which is obviously a white wine. It looks pretty nice, to be fair. It does smell quite strange though. It's got like a passion fruit smell to it. So it'll be interesting to see whether we like this one as much as we did the white wines in the previous place. I'm not sure, to be honest. I'd probably say it's the worst one of the white wines which I have tried so far. And one thing we have noticed as well is you're getting a lot smaller of a pour compared to Artwine too. So that's an interesting observation so far. So we've just found out that they actually added the last one into our wine tasting for free. So that is good news. And they've now brought out the Chardonnay, which should have actually been the second one. So we'll have to see what we think of this. Is it our first Chardonnay? I think it is. Yeah, it's our first Chardonnay. So we'll have to see whether I like Chardonnay or not. Wow, that is a lot harder to drink than the other ones. But he said about a butterscotch flavour at the end, and I have to say, you do get a little bit of a taste of that. So the next one sounds really tasty, so we'll have to see what it tastes like. But it's got strawberry and raspberry, and it is an off-dry rosé. So as you can see, pretty pink in colour. Again, not quite as much being poured as we were getting in Artwine, but this one's meant to be quite a famous one, Bird in Hand, and you can actually get a lot of these wines apparently in the UK too, so you might have actually heard of these ones, but we'll give it a try and we'll see what we think of it. I have to say, it's probably not my favourite of the rosés so far. It's a little bit more bitter, in my opinion. Next up is the Tasmanian Nouveau Pinot Noir, which is a red wine. And I have to say, it looks actually really nice. It smells good too, and it's meant to have a plum and cherry flavour with all of the fruits actually grown in Tasmania, shipped across to the winery, and they make it right here. So, will it be a nice one? That is the question. Just, again, tastes like a red, as all the red wines obviously do. But I have to say, I'd probably say this is one of my favourite of the red wines so far. I definitely prefer this one to the other two which we tried in Artwine.
It's this cool climate Shiraz. Has the flavour, less the weight.
Right.
So if you go to California, they used to call it Syrah, but it'd be more akin to an Aussie Shiraz in terms of that weight coming through it.
So our penultimate wine number 6, is the Syrah. And a fun fact is that Syrah and the Shiraz is actually the same grape. So if anyone tells you any differently, then don't believe them, because it's actually the same grape. This one is meant to be quite good paired with like duck, or paired with oyster mushroom if you are vegetarian. Smells pretty good too, so we'll give it a try, see whether we prefer it to our previous red which we had just a second ago. For that one, that's a strong one. I'd probably say down near the bottom in terms of the red wine so far. I feel I can see what he means by if you have it with meat it will taste a bit nicer, but for me right now I'd definitely prefer one of the whites or the rosés. And our final drink in the Bird in Hand is the Cabernet Sauvignon. So the final red wine. It's meant to taste like a Black Forest Gâteau. So I'm hoping it tastes just like that, because I love that cake. So we'll have to see, and I'll let you know whether I think it does or not. Wow, it's got nothing on a Black Forest Gâteau, and I'd actually probably put that one as bottom of the pile so far in terms of red wines. But the overall experience was really good. The guy was really good too. I think his name was Jacob. He's got a PhD in wines, and he told us all about all of them, but we're now going to be heading off to our next one, which is Nepenthe, where we'll be getting food, but we've just got to try and see whether we can get a taxi. So we played the risk of basically going for either DD or Uber, and I'll let you know how much it costs and whether we actually get one on time. Tasting number 2 done, and I have to say it was really good. Again, completely different to the previous one, but I definitely recommend giving this one a go. Preferred the wines in the Artwine and probably the surroundings as well, but there is a really nice restaurant which you can go to, and look at the views that you get from this vineyard. Just looks incredible. So now it's time to make our way over to winery number 3, which is called Nepenthe. So we did manage to get an Uber in the end. It's obviously risky if you want to try for an Uber or a DD. It's only cost us $21 too, so not expensive at all. We've seen a couple of the tour buses turning up and going too. So the tour bus is a good option. It's just a little bit more expensive from what we found so far. But just look behind me at all of the wineries. It just looks incredible. So this here in front of us, which is just leaving actually right now, is the Trail Hopper bus. So that is the one that I was on about earlier. It costs just under $100 per person to get that, and it's going to all of the wineries which we have gone to today. In terms of whether it's the better option, we'll find out a little bit later. However, if you're on your own, I'd probably say this is a good option. We did actually pre-book a taxi with 13 cabs, and it would cost us around $40. However, we took the risk, went for the Uber in the end, and guess what? It's just turning up now. So great news, as the Uber was nearly $20 cheaper. So our next stop is Nepenthe, and it is known for its small batch handcrafted wines with beautiful vineyard views. Just take a look at that. It actually looks amazing, and the drive-in too was incredible. There it is, literally just behind us there, and they focus on quality and unique varietals whilst also making every tasting a truly memorable experience. So let's go and find out whether all of that is actually true. So inside Nepenthe, it's actually really modern and very nice. There's two sort of sections. You've got the one section on the other side, which is more like the cellar room from the previous one, and then you've got this section, which you can see all of the Adelaide Hills, and you can also see loads of the vineyard too, which is beautiful. So in terms of the options, you've got 4 different choices of wine tastings you can do. So you've got the whites, you've got the reds, you've got the mixture, and then you've got one which is called the Adelaide Hills Renowned, which is some of the best wines done here in Nepenthe. So we've started off with 2 wines, so they brought 2 over to begin with, and they also brought us our breads and dips. So we paid an extra $25 for the breads and dips, and the wine tasting cost us $15 per person. So the wine tasting which I have gone for is the Adelaide Hills Renowned, and the one that Beth's gone for is the Sparkling White. However, we both started with the same one, which is the Blanc de Blanc. So it's refreshing, zippy lemon curd, and it should taste a little bit like freshly baked bread. So we'll give it a try, and I'll let you know what we think of it. That one's actually really good. I'd probably say that could be number 1 so far. I have to say, Nepenthe Blanc de Blancs, number 1 so far. And I can see what that means there by the freshly baked bread too. It does taste a little bit like that. You get a bit of an aftertaste of bread. The second one that we're going to be trying is the Elevation Sauvignon Blanc. So again, another white wine, very similar in colour. This one apparently has got a tropical nose and palate, which is a quintessential Adelaide Hills style. And apparently, I think it was this one, was voted one of the best in Adelaide or something. I think he said it was voted one of the best Sauvignon Blancs in the region, but don't quote me on that. We'll give it a try though and see what we think. That is nice actually, so I have to say it's a little bit fruity, and definitely one of the better white wines which I have tried. So far so good for Nepenthe. And we also got told a really cool fact. The Adelaide Hills is actually the closest wine region to any city in the world, which I thought was pretty crazy. It's only a 22-minute drive from the Adelaide CBD, to get to the edge of the wine region. We're now going to try a bit of our bread and dips. So with our bread and dips, we've got 3 choices of dips. We've got the French spinach, we've got the hummus, and we've got the beetroot too. And then they've actually made Beth some vegan bread with vegan oil and vinegar. So she's pretty happy with that too. We'll give it a try though. We'll start with the beetroot, and then from there I'll let you know whether all the dips are worth it or not. Really good bread and really good dips. The next 2 wines have arrived. So we've got both the Chardonnay and the Rosé coming up. So the Chardonnay apparently is stone fruit and grapefruit flavours with sweet spice and hints of hazelnut before a long, clean, zesty finish. And it's apparently meant to be quite a soft Chardonnay. So I'm not usually a massive fan of Chardonnay. I think it's quite hard. So we'll have to see what we think of this one to begin with. That could actually be the best Chardonnay that I've ever had. I don't often have Chardonnay. I don't usually like it, but this one actually tastes pretty good. Now the Rosé. So the Rosé apparently is dangerous, is what we were told, because it's meant to be that good. It's got a strawberry hint to it and red cherries too, and then it's a bit of pear as well on the palate. So let's see what it's like and whether it is as dangerous as they say. That is really good. I probably wouldn't say dangerous. I think that's probably because I'm more of a beer drinker than wine, but I'd still say it tastes delicious. And now we're moving on to our final 2 drinks at the Nepenthe. And I have to say, so far, it's been pretty good. Definitely above Bird in the Hand, and I'd probably put it on level par with Artwine in terms of flavour. But we've got 2 reds here to try now. And will these reds be better than Artwine? Let's find out. So we've got the Pinot Noir to begin with, which is dark cherry chocolate notes with dried herbs and a long finish. So apparently this one is meant to be quite good. It's a little bit lighter than the next one, which we're trying too. So let's see what we think of it. That's quite nice. It's not quite as heavy as a lot of red wines which you've had so far. So I'd have to say that's potentially the best red wine which you've had. And then the second one is the Pinnacle Shiraz, so both being called Pinnacle. I actually asked them what the prices were, why some are more expensive than others, and it's basically because there's better quality grapes used in some over others. And then also it depends on demand too. If one of them's really popular, then obviously they raise the prices. However, a lot of the ones based here are based on the grape quality. So Pinnacle Shiraz, cool climate Shiraz apparently, so a lot of the grapes around here are cool climate, and I think that's why in the Bird in the Hands they actually got a lot of the stuff from Tasmania, because it's a little bit cooler in Tasmania. But it's got black fruit, green peppercorn with a velvety finish. Apparently this one's meant to be a little bit stronger than the previous one, and as you can see it's a lot darker, a bit more purpley in colour, so let's try it. Ooh. And as he said, definitely a lot stronger than the first one. I definitely prefer the first one too. However, it's still not that bad a red wine. If you like the strong stuff, this is the one for you. So we've had a great experience at Nepenthe, and I'll probably put that one above Bird in Hand. However, with Artwine, I'd probably put it at a fairly similar position. So it's now a 7-minute walk to our final destination, and then I'll give you a summary of them all. We're sort of walking on a little bit of a dirt path right now, and then obviously we've got the vineyards in the background over there. It's a little bit of a shortcut from Nepenthe to our final destination, which I'll tell you about once we arrive. But the reason that we've done the 2 and the 2 is so that there's less journey time in between, so there's less taxis that we have to take. So if you are looking to go on like a budget wine tour, this is the one for you. Our next and final stop is Shaw and Smith. So it's located in the Adelaide Hills, and the winery is celebrated for its world-class Sauvignon Blanc and cool climate Chardonnay. So it's actually founded in 1989 and combines both elegance and precision in every bottle, making it one of Australia's most acclaimed wineries. Unlike all of the others, they all seem to have this grand entrance, and it takes forever to get there, so the walk-in was a lot longer than we expected. But in the background you can see all of the vineyard, and then the one which we've just come from, which was Nepenthe, is just across the road over there. So it's about a 7 to 10 minute walk. So it's not too bad a walk really, and especially for the amount that hopefully we'll save by the end of this, but we'll have to see. So now it's time to head inside and see why it is so special. This one again looks really modern compared to the second one, the bird in the hand, but just look at that view. Got the vineyard there in the background. There's also like a lake over there too, so they obviously use that probably in the summer months to water the vineyards. But so far it has been an incredible experience, and if you do want to do a wine tour like this, I'll leave all the information to it in the description below. Shaw & Smith inside again is a really modern winery looking out to the vineyards, and there's actually a little lake in the background too, which I was showing you just outside. So it is beautiful views. You can sit outside if you want to. However, today it's been quite windy and cool, so definitely not sitting outside weather. We've both ordered 2 different wine flights. Beth's gone for the classic wine flight, so it has all of the classics obviously, and all of the older wines, whereas I've gone for the other wine company, which is all of the newer wines, which are more of the experimental types of wines. Both look really nice, looking forward to trying them all. I've got 3 reds, whereas Beth's actually got 2 reds, so if you're not a fan of red wine, then go for the one that Beth has gone for. However, my one does come with olives, so if you're still feeling peckish, go for my one. They both cost $25, so again, this is one of the more expensive ones, especially compared to the $15 one, which we had at the last place in Nepenthe. Been giving ourselves a water, spit jug as usual, and now let's give ours a try. So we're going to start off with the left-hand side, which is the Pinot Gris, which was done in 2024. The region is the Adelaide Hills. As you can see, it's actually a really clear white wine, probably the clearest white wine which we have had today. It's almost the look of water, to be honest. So we'll try it, see what we think. It's meant to be a lively, textured and poised. That is a nice one. That's probably one of the nicer white wines to try. However, I'd still say the wines in the other places were slightly better. Next one to try, so we've got 3 reds in a row, and then we've got another white one on the end, which is actually a dessert white. But we're going to be trying out the Grenache to begin with. So this is a 2025 wine. Looks the lighter colour of the 3, and it's a dry, warm Mediterranean, and it's meant to be quite a juicy wine too. So let's see what we think of this one. Oh, that is definitely a red. And if that's the lightest of the 3, I have to say I probably won't be a massive fan of these, but we'll have to see. So the next one is the Sangiovese, which is actually grown up in Mount Lofty. So again, the Adelaide Hills, not too far from here, but a little bit higher up. It's a bright cherry and distinctive red wine. And again, you can see it's a little bit darker than the previous one. 4, and it definitely tastes a little bit darker too. So if you're into the rough red wines, this is probably the flight for you. Next one is the Barbera, which is 2024, again at the Adelaide Hills, so not too far from here. The Shaw & Smith that sort of own quite a few different grapes from the different areas, like McLaren Vale. They've got some here, obviously some in Mount Lofty too, and the last one is in Florio. But this is a bright, aromatic and structured wine apparently, so hopefully this one won't taste just as dark as the other 2 have. To be fair, although that one's darker, I'd probably say that is my favourite of the 3. A little bit juicier, a bit more like a fruit juice, but it still has that hard-hitting red wine taste. And then the final one is the Sauvignon number 4. So it's not Sauvignon, I'm not saying it incorrectly, it's a different type of grape. And this one's grown in Florio, which is just a little bit further south of McLaren Vale. It's a Mediterranean one again, and it's complex, saline and Moorish apparently. And this one smells incredible. So we got told it's got like an almondy smell. I've given it a smell. It smells like dessert, and apparently it's really good to have with ice cream too. So let's see what we think. I can see what they mean. It's definitely a dessert wine. However, in terms of the flight, I'd probably say this is on the lower side. So this is probably on par with bird in hand in terms of taste. However, that last one definitely tastes good with a dessert. There's not really been any other one which I've thought has that dessert sort of taste. So overall, I'm not a massive fan of the taste of the wines. Obviously, Beth's got more of the white, so maybe she might prefer that. We'll have to find out what she thinks. But in terms of the scenery and the experience, I'd come and give it a go. But one of the good things with the Shaw & Smith is that they've brought them all out. They've got a little card in front of us too, in front of all of the different wines, which means that you can see which ones you prefer, and you can drink the ones which you think you won't like as much first. Again, aka the reds in my case, and then end with the nicer ones. And that is it for our time here in the Adelaide Hills. We did the 4 wine tours, and I'll tell you all about them in a summary when we get back. But we're now waiting for our Uber, which is going to take us back to the CBD. We had to wait, I think it was about 23 minutes for an Uber, so it's quite a while, but we actually booked it because we knew we might have to wait a while. We booked it in advance, so it came a lot quicker. It cost us $30 too, so not too expensive. So I do believe we've probably saved quite a lot of money, and I'll talk about that when we do get back. It's bloody freezing right now though. We're currently here in November, sort of middle of November, and the wind is bloody freezing. It's literally just started raining and it is freezing here right now. It's so brisk, the cold, compared to what you get in the UK. I feel like the colder colds are cooler than the UK and the warmer warms are warmer. But right now I'm stood here in a short sleeve top and shorts and I'm bloody freezing. So do make sure to take a jumper up to the hills. And now we are back in our flat. It's about 6 p.m. so it's a full packed day, but you still got the evening if you want it. I have to say, I definitely recommend going up to the Adelaide Hills, especially if you're in the CBD, as it is not too far. It's about a 40-minute drive to the furthest of the wineries which we went to today. But it's now time to answer the question, does the DIY tour beat the commercial one? I have to say, I think it does. So in terms of the experience, you can spend as much time as you want at each of the wineries, whereas if you're on a commercial tour, then you're obviously time constrained, and so you have to leave at the time that the tour has specified. Also, if you're doing the hop on and hop off bus, again, the same rules apply. You have to be ready at a certain time, whereas for us, we obviously did it freehand and we could spend as long as we wanted at each of the wineries. And now let's take a look at the price. So in terms of the drinks and the food, it was $196, which would have been the same if you chose to do the hop on, hop off bus, or whether you do the DIY way like we did. However, in terms of the transport for the hop on, hop off bus, it cost $200 between the both of us. Whereas for the DIY wine tour, it was just under $95. So therefore, on transport, we actually saved $105. So definitely worth it. It is a lot riskier though. So we were actually up at one of the wineries. So I think it was the Bird in Hand. And we were trying to order a taxi to get to Nepenthe, and there was only one car, and luckily we got that one. So if you're a risk taker, and if you're not too worried about missing out maybe on the last wine tour, then do it the way that we did it. However, if you love everything being organised, you don't have to worry about anything, then maybe the bus is best for you. However, a lot of them do say that it takes approximately 1 hour. We found that it took a little bit longer than an hour, so we were always late at our next booking. So if you want to sort of sit and chill, I'd probably say do 2 or 3 wineries. However, if you want to try loads of different ones, then you can probably fit 4 maximum in. I'd say they probably take about an hour 20 minutes per winery. And then in terms of ranking the wineries, so both of our favourites were both Nepenthe and Artwine. Those two came out at top for both taste and appearance, and then Bird in Hand and Shaw and Smith came in second. However, I do recommend going to visit them all. They're all completely different, because the first one was like beautiful scenes looking over the vineyard, the second one was more sitting in a cellar, third one had a bit of both, and the fourth one was more just the beauty of looking out into the vineyard. So they're all very different. However, the wines do taste very different too. One other tip is, in terms of booking the wineries, I'd recommend just doing it anyway, because they definitely prefer that. However, during the off-peak season, you probably get away with just turning up and doing one whilst you're there. But overall, would I recommend doing what we have done? Yes, I definitely would. We've saved loads of money, we had a really good time, and overall, we were able to get a taxi straight back to the house, whereas we would have had to have obviously got a bus to the certain location where it picks you up from, and then made our way back to the flat. So overall, we've had a really good time. Definitely recommend doing it, and I'll leave as much information as I can in the description below or elsewhere. But I do hope you all enjoyed this one, and if you did, you should definitely check out the one from last week, especially if you're coming to Adelaide, as we went off to Glenelg Beach and got to see a beautiful sunset. Or you can go and check out all of my other vlogs in the worldwide vlog playlist, which includes vlogs from both Australia, Southeast Asia, and also from the Nordics. Next week, we're going to be heading up to Handorf, where we're going to be going strawberry picking and also maybe checking out a brewery or Handorf Street itself. So don't want to miss that one. Hit that subscribe button, like if you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you all in the next one.